welcome back to Cinema Corner. I'm Blake, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Alex and Josh.
And today we are reviewing Deadpool and Wolverine, the third Deadpool movie in the somewhat continuing the Fox universe, at least. It's more like their goodbye, bye, if you know what I mean. So yeah, this was a movie. This was. I'll just come out and say it. This was everything that I wanted in a Deadpool and Wolverine movie. I'm a fan, and I was serviced, and that is exactly what I was looking for. I'll let you guys give your thoughts on it first, though.
I mean, it starts off, obviously, just straight banging. Them addressing the elephant in the room with how are they going to handle Logan. And I think that was the only way they could handle it, is just make it a joke. Otherwise, I don't know how else you could do it, genuinely. Fun fight scene in the beginning, and then instantly showing you the TVA. So then you're kind of left wondering, okay, how are they going to tackle the TVA? Because obviously we know Kang, R.I.P., he's gone. So was any of that going to be referenced in the movie? And thankfully, it really was not. The TVA was involved, but in the best way possible, of use to just advance the story that they were trying to tell to allow Wolverine to have a movie with Deadpool. They did their job. They served their purpose. And I think we're all thankful for how they were handled.
Yeah. Yes.
And the Void coming back, that was something I did not expect. As well as, what's his name? Fucking
Goliath.
Yeah, he's returned as well.
From season 1, episode 5 of Loki.
Yes, that was funny to reference it. What did you guys think of the Void? And then the endless cameos, which I don't even feel like they were cameos, since they actually had bigger parts than most cameos. It didn't feel like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, where they were there for like 10 seconds and then died.
Yeah.
So how did you guys feel they handled the billion supporting casts that appeared?
I thought the Void was done pretty decent. It was, to help. It made sense that they wanted to tell a story, but they also wanted to do appearances by people, so this was the best way to do it. Obviously, this movie did even mention itself how much of a fan service this movie was, which in that regard, I think it did really well in. I think, like we said, as fans, getting to see, obviously there was, some of the super short ones, like Henry Cavill was an interesting, funny one to see real quick and stuff like that. But then you had a little bit longer stuff with, obviously they brought back, I mean, the entire, I don't even know what they called him at the end, but just like Gambit, which obviously never actually happened, but getting that to happen, but then bringing back like Wesley Snipes and Jennifer Gardner, bringing back whatever, I forgot what's the actress's name from Logan. No, the actress, Dafne Keen, that's her name, right? Yeah, bringing her back as well. Obviously, they had a little bit larger roles than some other things. Even Chris Evans as Johnny Storm had, I mean, a relatively decent-ish amount of time that he was on there. But I thought they did good with like those, just kind of quick cameos and stuff like that. I thought it definitely was, fan service done well, as long as the Sabretooth fight was, a bit of a whatever thing that literally he just ran and cut his head off, and that was it. So it was kind of like,
yeah, that was probably the only one that was a cameo that was like, okay, we could just done without it.
Right.
That was just lame.
For sure.
But you know what? I like kind of read up on it, and the whole reason why is because they never really had a like proper fight in the other ones. One where it was just like solo, and they wanted to show just how unfair it would be, because Sabretooth just has his like claw, like his nails, like long nails, and fucking Wolverine has these fucking 10-inch adamantium claws. They're like, yeah, this is not going to be a fair fight. But then this was like, they played it off as a joke that, yeah, this is how I probably would have went anyways. So, but yeah, I agree. Of the cameos, bringing back these actors to reprise their roles, it's probably the one where like, I mean, like, it's a nice little thing that they even did it, but like, did we need it? Probably not. I actually made a list of all of the cameos in here, so I can run down them.
Oh my god! Quick. You have every Deadpool.
Starting at the beginning. Logan's adamantium skeleton from the end of Logan. Happy Hogan showed up. That was a funny scene. Johnny Storm, Blade, Elektra, Gambit, X-23, Sabretooth, Pyro, Toad, Azazel from First Class, Juggernaut. It was a different actor, but he was still in there. A bunch of the X2/X-Men Last Stand characters when they went back to Cassandra Nova's compound. The Calvarine, and of course the big one, right? Short King Wolverine. That was
should have been Daniel Radcliffe.
Big one.
I don't know. That would have been super funny. That would have been better than the Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah, if it was a Daniel Radcliffe version, I think that I would have laughed a lot harder. But it was still well done. But yeah, I mean, Josh, what did you think of all the cameos and stuff like that?
I mean, yeah, I enjoyed it. However, the Henry Cavill one was the only thing that got spoiled to me, which is super funny that out of all the things, like, how did I not get spoiled that Chris Evans was going to make an appearance as Storm, but I got Henry Cavill Wolverine was the one thing that got to me finally.
Yeah. Did you guys think it was Johnny Storm? Real quick, since we're on. Because
I mean, I could tell. I didn't know what to expect. I saw the blue and the pants.
And then, like, he had like red around his arm, like his kind of like his forearms. So I was like, it was kind of trying to make me think, is this like another like a cat variant? And then as soon as he started talking, I was like, nah, this is not him. And then obviously he says flame on instead of Avengers Assemble. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I was gonna guess it was an Avenger. How it was just acting to the person lead up, and I was like, okay. I assume this was their point where they can make fun. No, I thought it was handled way better than Multiverse of Madness. I think they didn't take any bit away from the story, and in fact, all they did was add to it. They just used them to just quickly progress, have fun action scenes with it, as well as add a lot of funny moments. I mean, Gambit and Deadpool's interactions were top tier, as well as Gambit just having fun and looking dope as shit was also great.
Dude, so happy. Channing Tatum's on a heater right now. He needs to keep it going. I'm so glad they let him be Gambit for a little bit, dude. Man's killing it right now.
And I think also one of the more, almost, I would say like top 5, maybe probably I would say top 10 funniest scene was when Blade's saying that he was going to be the only one. And then Deadpool just stares at the camera as we all are wondering, will that Blade movie ever fucking happen?
Yep.
So I love how self-aware they were. Like, they were definitely sending shots to themselves, or to, I guess he was sending shots to Disney/Marvel multiple times throughout the whole movie. Yeah, I mean, it was great because they're like, okay, they understand, like, there's been a lot of misses recently. And they fully addressed that in this movie, which I appreciate. And it was great. I think I was also incredibly happy to get Channing Tatum as Gambit, and just him with that Creole Louisiana accent, like that heart. I was like, bruh, I'm fucking dying here. This is crazy that they even have him in the full getup, the full everything. It was like, Fox, why did you not make this movie? But
hey, speaking of Fox, that was, they try to make the theme of the movie about Deadpool learning to give a shit and basically try to be more of a hero. The real theme of this movie was the death of Fox and it saying goodbye. From literally the beginning of him just smashing the camera saying, fuck you, I'm going to Disneyland, to then constantly showing the Fox logo being dead in the void, and multiple scenes of Fox logos, and then to end the film in the credits being a whole montage of all X-Men
using the song films. "Good Riddance" from Green Day.
That was the real theme of this movie. Was a goodbye.
And then the Disney characters, Elektra and Blade, they're like, give me my, my legacy death. Like, it's like, this is exactly what they're wanting to do. It's like, I went in this thinking, how the hell are they gonna make, how they're gonna move Deadpool to the MCU and without making it messy? But in reality, it was, they definitely acknowledge and have love for the films that came before it in the Fox universe. They obviously gave a shit about a good amount of the characters to bring him back. And it kind of like tied the whole Fox universe up in a bow, and then kind of set it on fire at the end there by saying good riddance. But I mean, it definitely was the Fox characters and that whole universe their final send off before Disney finally incorporates the mutants and the Fantastic Four and all those characters into the sacred timeline.
Which I will say, I am a little confused on the timelines, because at one point I remember seeing something that said Earth 616, and I saw another that said like Earth 3000 something. I don't know where we are. I don't know was Logan ours? Was he 616 when we saw it die? I don't know what timeline I was universe.
On. No, he was Deadpool's universe, but like later on in the timeline.
So here's why it was confusing. Here's why it was confusing, because there's only one plot hole in this movie, potentially two. I'd say here, the biggest one is where the hell and how the hell did he get to 2018, the 616 Avengers with Happy talking about joining the Avengers? How did that happen?
At the end of Deadpool 2, it takes place in 2018. He was okay. He went back and he fixed everything.
He's not in that universe. He time travels. He's not jumping timelines in different universes.
I'm pretty sure they mentioned that he jumped to that.
No, it literally he appears. He just appears there, and he's like, "Oh, it just says 616," and he's randomly talking to the Avengers, which is what makes it extra confusing of what was going on.
He obviously used that to jump into that.
But it was just assuming. He just mentioned, even to the TVA, he just said, "Oh, is this about me just going back in time? Not going to anywhere else?"
It never said anything. Yeah, it never said anything about dimension jumping.
That's all it was. Jumping. That's all it was.
Timeline
and it takes a lot of no. He just said time.
Cable in whole thing never once talks about timelines. Cable uses a thing to go back in time to try to kill the kid from the second one before he can turn bad. It has nothing to do with nothing in Cable's thing has to do with timeline jumping. It is time jumping, staying in the same dimension and going back in time, and that's what Deadpool was supposed to be doing. And somehow he ended up on different dimensions.
Yeah. So that was the only part I would say just didn't make sense, was confusing, and I was like,
let's just be honest.
What's generous? Come on. What else?
Let's just be honest.
There was definitely some plot holes and stuff throughout the movie, I think.
Which makes sense, because if you think about it, every movie in the 20th Century Fox universe, there was
Marvel in general is Marvel in general is at that point anyways too, so it's like who cares?
Correct. So they just kind of embraced it. They're like, you know what? The 20th Century Fox, that whole Fox universe with Days of Future Past and that whole ending where all the mutants were alive, but then in 2029 in Logan, they're all dead. So it's like, holy shit, in 5 years, that whole thing happened. It was messy. But they roll with it.
Here's the real takeaway, guys. Allegedly, in Captain America, Brave New World, it will be addressed, a Celestial coming out of the Earth and being stopped. It finally, allegedly, is going to be addressed in Captain America. It's only taken us like 18 projects, but it is going to be addressed in the Marvel Universe, which is kind of cool.
I think they might just say they just mined it, because that's how they're going to introduce
adamantium.
Yeah.
Agreed. I know,
I'm just saying that's the only way you can when you.
At least it might finally be acknowledged, which is going to be kind of cool for the first time in 70 years. It feels like.
And this is how Daniel Radcliffe can appear.
I think it also was in a little like news clip thing when She-Hulk was scrolling through thing and like the big celestial in that. But yeah. Actually, speaking about it though, it'll be it would have been quite a while between Eternals and Captain America.
It is. Action scenes I thought were really well done, as we talked about the opening one. Him using Logan's body and killing all the TVA, which bye in that whole dance thing. I thought that was one of my favorite openings. I really enjoyed that a lot. Obviously, him and Deadpool fighting in the beginning, like when they first are in the Void, was cool, but also when they fight again in the van after, words are exchanged.
So much.
Yeah, fighting in the van was fire.
I'm going to fight you now.
Yeah, that The fight scenes I thought were really well done in this movie and enjoyable.
Dude, simply the whole scene starting in the van with like the whole argument and Hugh Jackman's acting there was phenomenal. I was like, you can tell he was putting it in his all. He was going off on Deadpool, and Deadpool for once was actually just silent, just taking it until he said, "I'm going to fight you now."
Yeah, that was
even the punch in the nose was hilarious by Hugh Jackman too. I'm just
the comedic timing in this one I thought was really well done throughout. A lot of the jokes and jabs that they took at real things and in it I thought was really well done. But yeah, no, that fight scene was pretty legendary.
Yeah, that was one thing I was expecting of. I don't know how they do it every time you go into, even like when I was going into Deadpool 2, I was just worried, oh man, they're going to do too much with the jokes. It's not going to be as funny as the previous one. And they just land it every time, I feel like, for these Deadpool films.
Which was
him
one of the
just
things
constantly just spitting out jokes, but it just doesn't feel overwhelming. And that is some fantastic writing to not overwhelm the audience with his character.
And I remember we were talking about this because this movie was shot, during and then after the writer's strike. So we were all very like skeptical. How are they going to do this? Since they can't really improvise and they can't do any of that. But, bruh, hats off to them. This is probably, I don't know, it's probably the funniest Deadpool movie. It's up there with like the first one, but I feel like this one's probably the funniest Deadpool movie.
Yeah, it might be recency bias, but
movie.
Yeah, it could be recency bias, but I definitely think it's the funniest one.
It's just because of like, I feel like, and it also helps because they have access to the MCU now that they can make references to those characters along with the Fox thing, and they can just go nuts with what they can do, what they can even say jokes about, what they can poke fun at. And I just think it just opened up a whole new box of toys for them to play with, and it was it was fucking funny. It was great. I think what I liked about it also was the Honda Odyssey. Like from the very beginning, they were talking shit about the Honda Odyssey, and of course, it all gets paid off with that fight scene. He's like, "Never mind, this Honda Odyssey fucks hard, but you don't." And then Wolverine's like, "Oh, I'm just getting started," and he just continues to fucking make that the bloodiest Honda Odyssey on planet Earth. Beautiful, and obviously we get Laura, who then shows up, older now. Yeah, that whole scene introducing the resistance, if you will. God, love it. I mean, I can't say there was anything that I just didn't like about it. I was
said my only
throughout
piece.
the whole thing. So I was like, I'm happy.
Wait, whoa. You got no complaints, Alex. You're telling me you
not
don't
that
have
I can
stuff
think
here?
of. Hold on.
Okay.
Wait. I would say the one complaint that I would have is the CG kind of in the one fight with Wolverine and Deadpool against the whole Deadpool Corps, specifically on Wolverine's mask, was a little iffy. I would say I probably would prefer it to be more practical. From what I've heard, it is practical in certain shots, and in other shots, it wasn't practical. It was CG, so it's like I would have preferred it to be completely practical, but I would say it's that. And then the ending, I would say I probably would have preferred if his timeline would have not survived it. Because now I feel like how are they going to continue this whole thing later on the road? I feel like it would have made sense that, it was already at 2%, the whole timeline. And I was like, okay, this is probably going to die, but now they're going to sacrifice themselves to save every other timeline. I feel like that would have made a little more sense. But other than that, I can't really think of anything else, to be honest.
Josh?
Unless I'm forgetting something.
I mean, I only had a few. I mean, I said my one I think was the biggest, so it just kind of bothered me was the 2018. He's just there for the Avengers. That one just kind of thrown in there. I think I could have done without that as well. But, hey, my boy Mobius, we got the TVA, and he's not even going to make an appearance. I thought that was some bullshit. I mean, come on, dude. There's a bunch of at least fake reports saying he was going to be in it, so I think that scene would have been legendary. Seeing Owen Wilson make an appearance, interacting with Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. I would have loved that. Otherwise, Yeah, I think not killing off Wolverine is a mistake. Because now you put yourself in this awkward spot of, do you cast him again or not? And it was just an easy, yes, I get it was cheesy, but any ending, it's still a comedy movie at the end of the day. You're going to have a cheesy ending. All of them have had cheesy endings. Just kill Wolverine. Let him make the sacrifice plays. And just be like, every Wolverine is destined to have this awful sacrifice at the end because they're all pieces of shit. At least they believe they are. Let him have the sacrifice play. This Wolverine died like this, like Logan died in that same universe. So yeah, and then as well as then now that not killing him gets the sloppy part of, technically there's 2 Wolverines there now in that universe. Logan's in that universe. Our Logan is alive. He's not dead. Right? At least in that time.
No.
I don't know which universe he's in. If he's in then the Logan died because he sacrificed himself in Logan, so he brought one to that universe.
I guess they should have said what time, what year it was.
Yes.
Yeah,
because it wasn't clear what year they were.
I don't know what dimension we're in. So now we're back in Deadpool's dimension, so he's not in Earth 616.
Right, because his Peter was there. So
Deadpool and Logan are in a completely different timeline right now. I got some gripes with the movie that I feel like definitely need to be said. From a villain standpoint, pretty terrible. Paradox, don't care about him. He was not menacing at all. He was nothing. Cassandra Nova was decent, but definitely didn't think she was anything special. So from a villain standpoint in this movie, extremely forgettable. I thought, that part of the writing, the ending, I thought was really lame. It was like obvious that once Deadpool went in there, if it was Hugh who went in there, I think there'd be a better chance of being like, oh, he's not going to break in. But when it was Deadpool, it's kind of like, obviously he's not going to die. Something's going to happen here. He's going to come in and save him. So when he grabbed him, I was like, that completely took away from the ending being meaningful. And then obviously when the whole machine died or exploded, it was like, clearly they both didn't just die, knew they were coming back. So I was a little bit like, felt like we definitely could have done better with that whole thing. That kind of just made that kind of, there was no emotion at the end there because it was like, yeah, obviously this is going to happen. The whole Deadpool thing with the nice Deadpool, whatever his name was, where he got shot and killed, and then they go and they kill all the Deadpools and all of them come back to life. It's like, so you're telling me he killed the only Deadpool who can't die? Every single Deadpool has regenerative powers but one, and it just so happened to be that one for the sake of a joke. I was like, okay, that was kind of lame because it was like, when they were killing all those, I was kind of like, they're probably all going to come back to life. This was kind of all for nothing. And they all did. So again, that was kind of like, wow, he just so happened to kill the one Deadpool that he wanted dead. It was kind of like, that was kind of lame to me, that I was like, that just seems lazy writing. So definitely think those. And my biggest thing with this whole movie was how horrible the explaining of this Logan was. It was dog shit. The whole, this is the worst one. The paradox, this is the one you bring. He's the worst one. And then you find out what happened in his universe that ended his universe or whatever. That was so bad. He got drunk at a bar and some of the X-Men died. I was like, that's...
all the X-Men died.
Yeah, he said he came back and they were dead. And I'm like, this makes him the worst Wolverine in every dimension ever. He's so bad. He's a loser. I was like, that was extremely... To me, that was just stupid. I was like, because he came back from the... Was he going to save all of them? You told me every X-Men working together were fucked by whatever was killing them, humans. But if Wolverine would have showed up, he would have killed every single human, saving all of them that were killing them.
It was that, like, and then also the thing he did afterwards.
How does that make sense?
I think they said that he started just.
Oh yeah, he killed.
Like,
and he enjoyed it. Who?
Yeah.
Who did he kill?
Yeah.
We don't know. So I'm like, we're gonna hype this thing up as this is the worst Wolverine in every dimension ever. And I was like, what did he do wrong? So you're telling me because he left all the X-Men alone drinking, they all died, but if he would have showed up, he would have been able to save every single one of them? Like, he would have been that unstoppable? And then apparently he just started killing. We don't even know who he killed. I was like, how is this? I thought that, to me, was like one of the biggest things that I was annoyed with. I was like, that was just lazy as shit. Make him do something if he's supposed to be so bad. I just thought that was horrible. So I definitely think there was some plot holes with this movie or issues with this movie that I was like, we're just going to skip over that? Okay, that's fine. Everybody's saying he's the worst one, but all he did was get drunk at a bar. Cool, cool, cool. And that ended a universe. Makes sense.
I didn't care.
Me, same. I was like, I don't give a fuck.
Whatever.
Okay.
Yeah,
No,
it
that's
didn't
fair.
bother me
That's
at
fair.
all.
That's
Like,
fair.
I was just there for the ride.
Me
man.
knowing that it's not Logan and it's just a Wolverine, it was one of more of those things. Like, I don't care. I was like, I thought this dude was gonna die at the end, so that's why I really didn't care about any of his backstory. It's like, yeah, you're Wolverine. You're here. You're serving your purpose right now. So that's why. Yeah.
Hugh Jackman in the yellow and blue cowl, and he fought like Wolverine in the first fight. He was like on all fours and shit. I was like, all right,
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, that was cool.
That's all I need. I don't give a fuck about anything else. Just give me an unhinged Wolverine, and we're good. Don't care. That's kind of my mentality towards these, especially towards like the Deadpool movies, because I know they're like comedies with like action mixed in. I'm not looking for like some deep, enriching thing here, but yeah, that would be my only thing about it. Like, yeah, it's whatever. Could have been better, absolutely. I could think of one thing off the top of my head right now. Have him be the one to kill all of the mutants. He just goes berserk. I don't know. Some mutant with like some mind fuckery power gets in his head. He kills all of the mutants. There you go.
Nah, he killed them all.
That
he killed them
makes
all in
him
his
the
universe because he didn't show up to a fight.
Exactly.
And every single mutant died somehow.
Exactly.
All right, well,
I just gave you a better reason, but do I care? Nah.
One final question, because the only thing that I would say that this film did negatively on for the future, because it had, I felt like, very limited impact, besides just one fact that just randomly appeared, and it was about the whole anchor thing. And that is one thing that I just did not care for one bit about, because I don't trust how it will be written in the future, because
Valid.
now we got to just guess who's the anchor of this one for our MCU universe.
It's
going on
obviously
right now.
Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man, and he died, so our universe is dying, so we need to find a new anchor point, so we go save another Iron Man, Tony Stark, which turns out to be Victor Von Doom. Welcome to the Avengers Doomsday plotline. Everybody knows it.
Dude, it's Spider-Man, so that's why it's going to be such a big deal, because he's the anchor, and then RDJ's going to come back, and she's going to try to kill the anchor, and then it ends up being Peter, and he has to fight his hero. At least that looks like his hero. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Anchor's awful.
Let's not look into
the anchor
the
idea
future too much.
That was bad.
Yeah,
that was bad. Let's forget about it like Kang. Let's just quick forget about it.
That's
not a big deal.
It's Marvel. Forget about a lot of things. Where's White Vision at? Nobody knows. Alex, what was your rating for this movie?
It was a 9.1.
Holy damn. Okay.
Wow.
Josh. Fan, and I was
that boy, he was happy.
I left the theater happy as fuck. Yes, I did.
Oh man, I liked it. Good chunk. I gave it an 8.4 out of 10.
Okay, I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. So
there you go.
About there. Yeah. But yeah, it's gonna do it for this video. As always, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys in the next one.